College application season is upon us. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to know exactly where you're looking or know the exact steps that you're going to take. There are some students that are still starting to try and figure out where they are in their timeline and in their search. And for others, they know exactly where they want to apply, but knowing what to do and worrying about how to make sure that everything gets completed is also an overwhelming feeling. So today I want to talk through those different pieces, what we do as to help you all as students and families, teens and families, as you navigate those college applications. So we're going to dive in and kind of talk about the first steps, and I look forward to our conversation. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Courtney. I'm the founder of Confused to College Ready. I have over 16 years experience as a mental health therapist turned school counselor, and I have seen so many people that need help and support and decided to start the Confused to College Ready podcast. And we are also in the process of our beta launch for our course. If you have not joined our Facebook group, we would absolutely love to have you join us. At the Confused to College Ready beta launch is the Facebook group, and you can come in. There's free training. I am giving away a lot of different resources and listening to what the members in our group are asking for. We had our first training, and we had someone ask for a roadmap and the exact steps and kind of what to think about for our students that weren't sure what they wanted to do, and we provided. So we broke that down into smaller trainings, and I would love to have you join us. We also are going to dive in to more about the specific applications for those who are ready to jump into that process too. And that's part of what we're excited about with the Facebook group. You also can follow us on social media at Confused to Ready. And you can reach out about any coaching questions that you have. I am happy to help. So if you haven't already, last thing before we dive into the material, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast so that you can get all of our downloads, and also leave a review. That's a great way to help other people find our podcast and find something that might be helpful for you. Okay, let's dive in. So like I said, if you are interested in, if you are listening to this in real time, today's August 2nd. If you're listening to this in real time, we dove into a lot of different pieces in the beta launch group and provided quite a bit of material for families to be able to have those conversations. We talked about a structure for those meetings and knowing what to do. If you have a senior who isn't quite sure, those pieces should be able to help you with identifying the colleges that your student is most interested in. For those of you that have a senior who is looking at applying, and we have some students, some teens that I know the many applications, the Common App and other applications for schools opened on August 1st. But that doesn't mean that everything has to be completed right away. No, you certainly can do so. You can work on getting applications done if your student knows where they want to apply. They want to get their demographic information. They want to get their essays done and ready. They can definitely do that. And I encourage students to make the most of their summer. The other thing is, though, if your student needs to take some time, they can do that too. And please note, so there's several different parts to the application. So I want to break this down. There's the student-led portion of the application. And so that's what your student is filling out, your teen is filling out as far as their basic information. So where do you live? Looking at demographic information, looking at different activities that your student might have been involved in, and different platforms will request that in different ways. There's applying directly to the college, there's the Common App, there's the HBCU Common App, there is the Coalition application. So there's several kinds of applications that you can use. But there's the student portion of that. That also includes supplemental essays or personal statements, making sure that you are diving in to telling the full story of your student and what they're most interested in. So the college can really get a picture of who they are. Then there are test scores that students can send. Some schools will include, some high schools will include the ACT and SAT test score on a transcript. You need to make sure that whatever score is on that transcript is based off of the most recent test that your student has taken. So if they took a test over the summer, make sure that that the high school has that information so that that updated test score can be sent on to the colleges. Some schools don't put test scores on the transcript, and in that case, you are going to need to go into the SAT and ACT websites, into your student's account, and there is a payment, and you would need to pay to have those test scores sent to the colleges. So those are all things that you can take care of right now on your student's end. And those are the things that your student is responsible for. It doesn't have to be right now, but those are all things. If your student is saying, let's go, I'm ready to dive in, let's get these handled, those are all pieces that can be taken care of sooner than later, and that your student has control over being able to get those pieces submitted. A couple of other pieces that are going to need to be part of that application process are dependent on other people. So one of those is going to be transcripts. Some schools will not be sending transcripts until maybe the first or second week of class, and there is good reason for that. If students are taking any summer courses, we want to make sure that those courses have been transcribed and placed on the transcript. Or if you have new students who have enrolled in the school or students who have withdrawn, that can impact class rank. And then if you have, if students, we want to make sure that the work in progress, so your current work that students are doing for that particular semester, we want to make sure that those are the most updated courses when that gets sent to a college. And so that's why, like with the high school that I work at, we don't send transcripts for our seniors until a little ways into, a week or two into senior year, because we want to make sure that if a student signed up for a particular class and they send that to the college and there's a change later on, that we're not having to explain to the college, okay, here's why there was a change. And that can be a question that colleges will ask in sending mid-year transcripts is, did this student have any changes to their schedule and why? So we want to make sure that everything is accurate and up to date, and that we are sending colleges the most current information so that it's not something that there's going to be a change to have to explain. So those are a couple of the reasons why transcripts might take a little bit of time, and then letters of recommendation. So you want to ask early for those letters. You want to make sure your teen wants to make sure that they are giving their recommender plenty of time to complete those letters and get them submitted. You want to have at least several weeks ahead of time, so where you have notified that recommender, where you are informing them, hey, this is something that we want to take I would love to have you write a letter for me. I know that when I was in your class, or when I worked with you with XYZ club or activity, we had a special relationship. These are the things that you know about me. Here's what I think, why I think that you would be able to represent me well. So you don't want to wait until the last minute on those pieces. You want to be able to make sure that you're giving the recommender plenty of time to get everything submitted, and that you are that there's time for the college to process all of that information. So that brings me to another point with applications is these colleges are getting hundreds and hundreds of applications at a time. And all of the documents that are coming in for all of those students, I can only imagine how overwhelming and how inundated they are with those documents and getting them to the right place. So asking early for letters, asking early for transcripts is going to save a lot of headache at the very last minute, to make sure that you all also are not stressed out and saying, well, you said that you sent it and it's the deadline, but the college doesn't show that they have it. Well, if you've asked early enough, sometimes the college website says that they haven't received something. while the high school has sent it, and that's because there are processing delays. Not that that's any fault of the colleges, that just is, there are so many applications there that they are working through that we want to make sure that you apply and request all of those documents to get there on time. So that's something to be aware of. If you get an email from a college that says, hey, we're still missing these documents, don't freak out. Don't think that that is, that nothing has been sent. It might be that this is just a matter of things showing up in the system. So that is something that I have seen where students have felt overly stressed. They've felt like, I don't have everything in there that I need to. And there's a good chance that you do if you've requested it and it's been done in a timely manner. Depending on the system that your school uses, there might be a way for you to track that. I encourage students to keep an application checklist, and we actually have access to that checklist in our beta launch group. So if you come into that group, you can get all of these things for free. I just ask for feedback so that I can learn and grow the program that is going to be the most helpful for you. And then we will be launching our first group of coaching students and families soon as well. So this is a great time to get into all of that and to get into that program. I hope that you will find it helpful. So those are some of the different pieces. If your student knows where they want to apply, this is a good time for them to work on getting that application completed, the demographics, their extracurriculars, GPA, test scores. Some schools will do a self-reported test score where they will allow the students to say, yes, this is my test score. This is what I received. If the student is accepted into that college, you're going to end up having to send an official test score to be able to prove. So the other thing I would say is always, always be honest and upfront about where your test score is. And know that we still have time for students to retake ACT and SAT if you need to. So we're working on the application, personal statements and essays, and then also looking at getting those test scores sent in as far as the student component. Now, some applications, they're not going to be open and ready until later this fall. It might be September. It could be mid-August. And that's okay too. So get done what you are able to on the applications that are available. And then once the other applications open up and you can see different essay questions and everything, then students can dive right into that content. The other piece I would say is the sooner that you get some of those applications in and completed on your end, the more time that your student is going to have for other things to focus on during senior year. And that might include scholarships. That might include their extracurricular activities. There are a lot of different pieces that can be tremendously helpful as far as that goes. So I hope this has been helpful. If you want to hear more of a deep dive into any of these things, please send me an email. It's admin@confusedtoready.com. You can send me a message on Instagram at Confused to Ready. We have our Facebook, the beta launch group is the Confused to College Ready beta launch. And then we also have our group for general information. And so the beta launch group will close down after several more weeks, but our other group will keep going. But for right now, I would love to have you join us in that beta launch group just to get your feedback and hear more about what you think. I hope that you all have a fabulous week, and I am going to be sharing, I've done a couple of recorded interviews with some students to hear more about their questions and so that you can see our coaching style. The sessions that I have for this are really a lot of question and answer. And then I have some different interviews that I will be sharing that are more of a conversation and students being able to give some feedback as well. So lots of different opportunities for interviews. Again, if you join the Confused to College Ready beta launch, we will be doing some free coaching in there as well that you can hop on live with me. I look forward to seeing you and hope you have a fabulous week. Take care.